Hey, welcome to BreitWerks. What are you looking at? 1985 911S, or I'm sorry, 930S slant nose. So this is a pre-505 car, so there was no option code. This is a true Special Wishes car. One of 44 made in 1985. What are we doing to it? Well, you can see it and hear it. It's too bad you can't smell it. We're getting the gas out of the tank because it's been in there too long. And with all the fueling issues that you guys have seen on my channel recently, I said, hey, you know what? We are gonna preemptively deal with this. So yeah, yucky. We'll get that all sorted out. The other thing is she's getting an oil change. So right now, oil tank's dripping. Let's see, I think I had 16.7 miles on the oil that was in there. But usually I try to service this car every December, and here it is May, so it's been 17 months. Oof, well, really 16 months because it's the beginning of May. But anyway, I don't know. I always kind of hope I'm gonna find some weeps as an excuse to rebuild this thing. But many years ago, I had a broken head stud, so I resealed the engine when I fixed the head stud. And I have documentation that says, I think it was around 65,000 miles, it got new pistons and cylinders. So it's only got 80,000 miles on it, 88,000 miles on it. So it's got less than 20K on the pistons and cylinders. So does it need it? No. Do I want to do it? Yes. The only problem is I have done my best to keep this car as close to stock as possible. So it's like I look at it and go, there's so much that can be done here, but we don't want to do it. So I even regret putting on the B8 Sports just because they're yellow instead of green. But that's okay. So over her life, I rebuilt the transmission many moons ago. Doesn't leak, shifts freaking amazing. Really, it just gets oil changes, and now we've added fuel changes to the repertoire. So I don't know, that's getting to be a real problem. Hopefully somebody figures it out. But let's see, Special Wishes car. So what's so special about this car? Well, the slant nose for sure, but you guys already knew that. Let's look at a couple of the other pieces that are interesting. So all of this standard 930 stuff, right? Got the standard brakes, standard suspension. I've replaced all the rubber in them. But when you come and you look at, so we're looking at it from the underside, right? So nobody ever sees this side of it. But when you look at, like, this is all hand laid up stuff, right? So Porsche, like, I love this. They were making it fit. So they made it fit. But yeah, it's amazing how kind of all hand built this stuff is, right? And then it's got the front oil cooler. And what did Porsche do? Well, they just put two big holes in the body to run the oil lines through, and then they gooped it up with gummy fledge, right? So you just get a whole bunch of gummy fledge around that. That's how they did it. Let's see, one of the other things, these little fog lights. So 85, those actually came off, I think they're the same part number. They crossed with like a 944 turbo. So, you know, they were using parts out of the bin. There you can see the headlight stuff. And last year, if anybody followed along, we changed out the AC. We upgraded the AC to R134. And while I was driving it over here from storage, it was blowing ice cold. So here's another unobtainium. This is a windshield washer bottle. You see how short it is, right? Because you got a headlight up there in the way. So this is the unobtainium slant nose washer bottle. Kind of a cool little feature that's on here. And let's see, up there the famous 935 style fenders. And when you come back here, oh yeah, the rockers, right? Porsche calls these entrance linings. So you kind of look at them and you go, wow, they just put screws where they kind of needed to get everything to be held together. Pretty amazing. And then even up here, when you look at this, so this is a brake duct, right? A lot of people think that this is an oil cooler because the later cars, once Porsche said, hey, these things sell pretty good, let's add it as a production option, and they started cranking them out, they did put the oil cooler up here. But way back when, that's a brake cooler. So you get this giant slats, right, a la Testarossa style, but all they do is cool the brakes. But when you look at the, you know, these are all handmade pieces, right? This is all hand laid up stuff, how it's glued together. So when you get under here and you look at it, you go, wow, so somebody, some human actually made all that stuff. None of this machine press stuff. Kind of neat. Same thing over here on this side. This one's shaped a little bit differently, but you can still see how they just straight bonded it to the fender. It's not, you know, screwed in or anything. It's just bonded. Definitely made for changing those torsion bars. Interesting. And the other item is I have a slight weep. I get about 1 or 2 drops after driving the car coming out of the swage fitting here. Well, the only downside to that is when you follow that back to the thermostat where it goes, there's no way to get a wrench in there because this guy's not removable. So you got to drop the entire oil line. So I figure once the other one starts leaking, or if the leak gets bigger than 1 or 2 drips, I'll drop all those oil lines and then repaint them. You can see Porsche tried to spray them black. But the only downside is somebody at one point in time got in here with black paint. I'm sure they were trying to undercoat it, because from what I remember, car was in Connecticut, Florida, and Arizona. And it actually did some cross-country trips between Florida and Arizona, which is kind of awesome when you think about it. But back in the day, why wouldn't you? So yeah, so somebody had sprayed undercoating, because I've cleaned this about a gazillion times and waxed it and everything. But you can see all the original Cosmoline. I tried to leave all that stuff there. Didn't want to take it off. But yeah, you look at the Cosmoline on the strut mount, or the struts, and you sit there and you go, oh man, I can make this look so pretty. But yeah, that's like original stuff. So I keep hoping that one day I'll blow out a ball joint or something will happen and I'll have an excuse to do some of that stuff. But again, trying to keep it stock is hard. I mean, I have my little outlaw car, but just trying to keep this thing as original as possible. So one day in the future, somebody can come back and look at it and say, hey, what did Porsche actually do when they were in Work 1 across the street from the paint shop in Stuttgart, and they were actually building these things by hand? So kind of cool. All right, that's enough of the underside. We'll get all of this sorted out once that fuel decides to stop dripping. We'll finish up the oil change, and then we'll go topside. Well, she's definitely not very loud with that stock exhaust on there, but running like a top. Change the oil, fresh fuel, cleaned everything up. One of the interesting things about this car is only these pipes work. These pipes over here, they're attached to the wastegate. So when the wastegate opens, you hear it. But all this is pretty standard 930 stuff. Let me go ahead and shut her off and we'll walk around. And I figured I would do a light check before we shut her down. So it looks like everything in the back is working the way it's supposed to. I can't believe that's working. I had no idea that even really worked. Very cool. Let's see what else. We got all the gauge lights working. And I think up here I'm going to find out. I got a bulb out. Gonna have to go fix that. See, you got to check these things every once in a while. All right, I'm gonna go fix that bulb. So one other interesting factoid about the 930 slant nose that was built in Special Wishes. So you see down there the jack extension, right? When you look over here at this one, which was converted using real parts by a Porsche dealership. But you notice there's no jack extension in the entrance liner, right? The rest of us call them rocker panels. Porsche calls it an entrance liner. So what that means with that extra, I guess, jack point or whatever, when you come in and you look at the jack, so the jack's in a different place. So you don't have it down here where you would normally find it, because they actually had to put a bar in there to be able to actuate the headlights. So it is up here next to the smuggler's box. But one other thing that you notice is that there is a welded extension here, right? So your normal jack has that little piece that sticks out. This one has a welded extension on it. Now, why does it have a welded extension on it? Because these guys run all the way back to the car body. So that jack is 930S specific. So kind of neat, very fun. Still have the window sticker, or not the window sticker, the option sticker. Somewhere I have the window sticker. I don't know, I probably tried to save it somewhere in the future, or for the future, and I might have outsmarted myself. But hey, her name is Vermhilda, and Hildy's about to go get a bath, so we'll stay on it and we'll get back to you. All right, we will finish this video off. Pretty much everybody is aware of the slant nose steel fenders. Porsche actually sold those to a couple of US dealers and they could install them afterwards. But yeah. And then the front grille, sometimes painted body color, sometimes painted black, kind of dealer's choice on that. I like the black. I like the way it works with the rubber. It's a Euro, so it's got those little side markers. And then in here, what's cool in here? Let's see. First thing is you got the 930S steering wheel. I had taken this off for years and stored it, and then I said, hey, I'm going to too many car shows, I'm gonna put it back on. But yeah, that's actually in pretty good shape. And then the other pretty cool thing that I like is that gauge, the digital boost gauge. They call it a digital boost gauge, right? It's not that digital, it's just lights up. Yeah, that's kind of neat. And then I think I said earlier, it's got that comfort center console. I think they call it Comfort 2 or something along those lines. But sport seats, rest of the car, pretty standard. I keep all my car show stuff in the car, ready to go at a moment's notice. And you notice that I took out the back seats. They're stored in a closet somewhere, but it gives a little bit more room in the car. And I think that's kind of, everything is leather wrapped, right? Like even the bezels, it's all leather wrapped. So that was one of the options that the car had. Somewhere I have the original sticker, but everything you touch was supposed to be leather wrapped. There's a leather on the console, just little things. And those were Special Wishes options way back when. So it's kind of like today when the exclusive, you can have them do anything you want to the car. And way back when somebody did that, they had them do everything they wanted for the car. Over the years, I've had to replace these threshold pieces, but she's holding up pretty well. Not too bad for 1985. She's got 80-something thousand miles on her. All good, honest miles. Yes, I have had this car on a track just because I wanted to see what it would do. And I had the infamous, or famous actually, Ron Zitza as my ride-along driver. And he said, this is awesome, now go park it. And I was like, why? He said, because it's a rare car, don't bring it on the track. So I, of course, proceeded to take it out and autocross it some more. But, yep, 16 miles last year, 23 miles the year before. I definitely need to take my own advice and drive my cars more. but wow, for 1985, that is a pretty cool shape. All right, thanks for following along. If you like this video and our other videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and then check us out at BreitWerks.com, and maybe we can help you too take care of your piece of Porsche history.